The waiting room was quiet that evening, the kind of quiet that comes only in the hours just before midnight. The fluorescent lights above gave off a soft hum, and the air smelled faintly of antiseptic and coffee that had been sitting too long on a warmer. Outside, autumn winds rattled the branches of trees near the hospital windows, sending shadows swaying gently across the floor. Emma sat in the wheelchair, her hands resting over her round belly, breathing in and out, slow and steady. She had felt the contractions grow sharper in the past hour, pulling her body into a rhythm she could no longer ignore. Her sister, Claire, stood beside her, holding her purse, whispering encouragement. "You're going to be fine, Ma," Claire said softly. "We're here. You're strong. Just focus on your breathing." Emma nodded. She had told herself the same thing. Still, a ripple of fear stirred in her chest. It wasn't just the pain or the uncertainty of childbirth, it was the unknowns of what awaited her behind those double doors, in the bright delivery room. A nurse approached, smiling warmly, and began to guide the wheelchair toward labor and delivery. The hallway stretched ahead, lined with doors and soft beeping from monitors. Emma kept her gaze forward, trying to steady herself, but as they reached the desk and the nurse handed over her chart, she heard a name spoken quietly, a one she had not expected to hear again in this place. "Dr. Michael Turner will be taking care of you tonight." Emma froze. The name struck her like a cord pulled too tight. Claire's head turned quickly, her eyes searching Emma's face. Michael Turner, her ex-husband, the man she had once loved more than anything, the man she had walked away from 2 years ago, after their marriage had crumbled under the weight of silence, distance, and unspoken hurt. Emma felt her breath catch. She wanted to protest, to say no, to ask for someone else. But before she could speak, the doors opened, and there he was, Michaela, stepping into the hallway in his scrubs, his hands gloved, his expression calm yet alert. Their eyes met. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Michael nodded once, gently, as though acknowledging everything that passed silently between them. "Ma," he said softly, "let's get you taken care of." The room was bright, almost too bright. Machines hummed softly, and the white sheets of the bed smelled freshly laundered. Emma lay back, her hands gripping the rails as another contraction swept over her. She closed her eyes, breathing through it, and when she opened them again, Michael was checking monitors, giving quiet instructions to the nurses, his presence steady and professional. It was strange, seeing him like this again. She remembered his laughter once filling their kitchen, his jacket draped over the back of a chair, the way he used to rest his hand on her shoulder when words weren't enough. Those memories rushed back, uninvited, blending with the pain and the sterile lights. Michael's voice drew her back. "You're doing well, Ma. Baby's heart rate looks strong. We'll keep monitoring closely." She nodded, unable to speak. Claire sat nearby, her hand wrapped around Emma's, whispering encouragements during each contraction. But Emma found herself listening for Michael's voice too. It carried a calmness, a certainty that steadied her heart, even as her body trembled. Time passed in waves. Hours blurred into one another. The contractions grew stronger, longer, demanding all her strength. Emma felt her courage falter, and at one point, she whispered, barely audible, "I can't do this." Michael leaned closer, his eyes meeting hers. And for the first time that night, his voice softened beyond professional boundaries. "Yes, you can. I know you. You've always been stronger than you think." Emma's breath shook. For a moment, she wasn't in a hospital room as she was back in their old life, sitting across from him at the kitchen table, hearing him say the same words when she doubted herself about a job interview, about moving to a new city. The memory hurt, but it also lit something inside her. She nodded faintly and gripped Claire's hand tighter. Hours later, the night had deepened. The windows showed only darkness outside, and the monitors in the room glowed with quiet consistency. Emma's body trembled as she pushed through wave after wave of effort, sweat on her forehead, tears in her eyes. Michael guided the process calmly, giving her space yet stepping in with firmness when needed. He never raised his voice, never faltered, as though he had set aside every shard of their history to be fully present for this one moment. And then, at last, a cry filled the room, a thin, sharp, beautiful sound that broke through every other noise. Emma gasped, tears spilling down her cheeks as she collapsed back against the bed. The nurse lifted the small, wriggling baby and placed the bundle gently in Emma's arms, her daughter. Emma's heart opened wide, fuller than she ever imagined possible. She gazed down at the tiny face, the pink cheeks, the fragile fists curling and uncurling. The world seemed to pause, holding its breath, honoring this moment. Michael stood a step away, his expression unreadable at first. But then Emma saw the faint tremor in his jaw, the brightness in his eyes that he tried to hide. For just a heartbeat, the doctor's mask slipped, and she saw the man she had once known, raw and human, standing before her. Later, when the room had quieted, when the baby had been checked and swaddled and was resting peacefully in Emma's arms, Michael came to her side. Claire had stepped out to make phone calls, leaving them alone for the first time all night. Emma looked up at him, words pressed at her lips, but she couldn't find the right ones. Michael spoke first. "You did incredible." His voice was low, almost reverent. "I've seen hundreds of delivery as a broken bar, but tonight a broken bar, it meant more." Emma swallowed hard. "I didn't expect a broken bar it to be you." "Neither did I," he admitted. His eyes softened. "But I'm glad it was." They were quiet for a while. The baby stirred, making small sounds, and Emma adjusted her gently. Michael watched with a tenderness that made Emma's chest ache. Finally, he said, "I know we couldn't make our marriage work. I know there were things we couldn't fix. But the night a broken bar." He hesitated, then finished. "Tonight reminded me of why I cared so much in the first place, and why I still want the best for you." Emma's throat tightened. She wanted to speak, to say something equally honest, but all she managed was a whisper. "Thank you, a broken bar, for being here." Michael nodded. He reached out, not touching, but close enough that she felt the warmth of his presence. "Take care of her, Emma, and take care of yourself. That's all I ask." With that, he stepped back, giving her space, his figure steady in the doorway before he finally turned and left. The days that followed were a blur of feelings, checkups, and exhaustion softened by love. Claire stayed by Emma's side, helping where she could, but it was the quiet moments when Emma rocked her baby in the stillness of dawn that she thought back to that night. She thought of Michael's steady hands, his calm voice, the way he had set aside their broken past to be fully present when it mattered most. It did not erase the years of distance, the reasons they had gone separate ways, but it gave Emma something she hadn't expected: peace, a gentle closing of a door that had been left half open. And as she held her daughter close, Emma whispered softly, "You came into this world surrounded by love, a broken bar in ways I never imagined." The baby stirred, sighing in her sleep, and Emma smiled through her tears. Life had given her a new beginning, and even though the past lingered in memory, the future stretched wide ahead, full of possibility, full of quiet hope. In the quiet glow of early morning, as sunlight touched the hospital windows, Emma realized something. The incredible thing Michael had done was not just delivering their child safely into the world. It was the way he had shown up, and not as her ex-husband, not as a ghost from a painful past, but as a human being who cared, who studied her when she doubted herself, who reminded her of her own strength.